Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 26 mini-series with the Los Angeles Angels. And we are just past the trade deadline in 2030. Season is going very well for our Angels. We're leading the AL West by 9 games as we attempt to make a fourth consecutive playoff appearance. And we're 2.5 games up on the Detroit Tigers for the best record in baseball, as we try to ensure that we have home field advantage throughout the playoffs in pursuit of a second consecutive championship here in our final year with the Angels. The team is pretty well positioned. We didn't make any major trades as we approached the trade deadline. Did add Jock Peterson in as a hopefully somewhat better left-handed hitting designated hitter for us. And into the bullpen, we also added a guy who doesn't even show up here, how insignificant the trade likely was. But that's Dustin May, who's going to be a long reliever for us at this point and give us a little bit of an insurance policy in the starting rotation if we do have some injuries down the line. Fortunately, right now, no material injuries at the major league level. So the big goal is to maintain the lead in the division, maintain the best record in baseball, and ensure that this team is as healthy as possible come October, because I feel like we've got a very good chance to win it all this year and get that repeat that we're looking for if we can remain healthy. Taking a look at the schedule for the month of August, we do have 3 games at Texas at the end of the month. Also 3 games at our division rival, Astros. Only other divisional games are a 3-game series at the A's in the middle of the month. But those series with Texas and the Astros at the end of the month are the most significant, since although they're 9 and 11 games behind us in the standings respectively, they are our top competitors in the American League West. And with the trade deadline now past us, of course, that's when the injuries start, although this one not too significant. Left fielder Anthony Scull going to be day-to-day with a strain back for the next couple weeks, since we do have a little more depth now with the fact that we sent Carlos Jorge down to AAA when we brought Peterson on board. We'll be conservative with Scull, add him to the injured list for hopefully only about 10 days, and bring Jorge back up for the time being. And unfortunately, just had a relatively rough result. We swept the White Sox and then took 2 out of 3 against Tampa Bay, losing the final game in that series. But unfortunately, we lost 4 straight in Detroit, the last 2 of which were 1-run games, to push our losing streak to 4. And to also, unfortunately, give the Tigers a lot of life by letting them win 3 in a row against us. They've now won 6 in a row. We've lost 4 in a row, as I noted. And the Tigers are only half a game behind us for the best record in baseball at this point. 9.5 game lead on the Rangers, 11 up on the Astros. So still in a very good position as far as the division, but definitely was disappointing to lose 3 straight to the team that's chasing us for the best record in baseball. And after that great month of July we had in the last episode, August has been much more mixed. We did take 2 out of 3 at home against the Dodgers, but then we lost 2 out of 3 against the A's, both of the losses coming in 10 innings. So barely above 500 here in the month of August thus far. Seems like it was a good move to put Scull on the IL. His injury recovery is still unknown, although we thought it was going to be just a couple of week thing. As I noted, we've had Jorge back. He's still not been particularly productive, but getting a little more playing time at least. But after a mediocre start to the month, we're on a nice run now. We won the final game of the series against the A's, as I noted, and then have extended our winning streak to 7, taking every game in a homestand against the Reds and the Cubs. So feeling good about the team as we head into those final 5 games in the month of August, as we noted earlier, on the road against Texas and Houston. A little bit of news from one of our former players, good old Adley Rutschman, National League Player of the Week, having a pretty solid year for the Braves this year. 317 average in 142 at-bats. Unfortunately for him, missed 7 weeks with a sprained thumb, and he also had a head injury earlier this year, although that was not as significant, fortunately. So missed a lot of time, but he has been pretty productive when he's been able to be in the lineup. And unfortunately, things didn't go great against Texas and Houston. We dropped 2 out of 3 in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to the Rangers, split the first 2 games with Houston. So as we sit here on September 1st, we'll be adding some players to the roster for September roster expansion. Still up 11 on the Rangers and 14.5 on the Astros. That 7-game winning streak certainly helped us significantly. And when we think about the Tigers, though, definitely a challenging situation. They're 8-2 over their last 10. We're 7-3 over our last 10, and we're in a flat-footed tie with them for the best record in baseball. They are a game ahead of us in the win column, but we are a game ahead of them in the loss column. So we'll see what happens over this last month of baseball. As we take a look at the leaderboard, Guerrero Jr. second in the American League in ribbies. Spencer Schwellenbach tied for the league in wins. Cade Smith third in saves. Jake Riley, the youngster, third in the league in strikeouts, and tied for first now in pitcher WAR with Garrett Crochet, as Crochet pursues a 5th consecutive Cy Young Award in the American League. And as far as our position players, nothing too exciting as far as what we're doing with the 2 that we're bringing up in September roster expansion. Bring Carlos Jorge back up, who has been, as we talked about, sent to the minors and in a less prominent role given his lack of production in the acquisition of Jock Peterson. And then to give us a right-handed bat off the bench, we also brought Sean Bouchard up. He's a guy who was a minor league free agent signing this past year, was up for us and very productive earlier when we had some injuries. Fortunately, we were able to waive and DFA him, get him back down to AAA, and he hasn't been particularly productive there, but he was very good in 32 at-bats for us at the major league level. And we actually did think through things, and we added Bouchard back to the 40-man roster just in case we need him for the playoffs, although I think that is a unlikely scenario unless we have a lot of injuries. Pitching-wise, reunited with Joey Broughton, who was up with us earlier, was not particularly effective at the major league level, although he did a really nice job for us as a starter in AAA, 9-5 with a 3.12 ERA. And to hopefully keep people healthy for the month of September and into the playoffs, we're going to run with a 6-man rotation, and we're going to give an opportunity to Andy Kraft, a former second-round pick from 2026. Talked about him in previous episodes. He was 7-2 with the 2.82 ERA in AA this year. Promoted him a couple of months ago up to AAA, where he's gone 6-3 with a 3.54 ERA. So been very effective there. Still has a lot of improvement to make as far as his potential movement and his control. But he'll get the opportunity at a major league level. We noted in previous episodes that he was kind of an insurance policy for us if we had a bunch of pitching injuries. Hopefully it won't come to it, but we did add him to the 40-man at the start of this episode, just not wanting to risk rushing here to get to September 1st and forgetting about it. Unlikely that we'll need him. Kind of interesting the way that the starting rotation is shaking out. For a long time, Schwellenbach and Riley were our top 2 pitchers, but Taj Bradley and Michael King now have 10 wins each also. Their ERAs are slowly coming down from the over 5s area that they were not that long ago. And George Klassen with 10 wins in the fifth starter role for us, and he's only started 14 games this year since he wasn't in the rotation at the start. So as we begin the month of September, all 5 of our primary starters already at double digits in wins this year. And we'll see if we can keep them healthy, and we'll see if we can get the 16 wins by us or losses by our opponents we need to clinch the AL West over the next couple of weeks. And then the most interesting thing, other than trying to stay healthy here in September, is going to be, can we top the Tigers for the best record in baseball? Before we do move forward, we'll check in on just a couple of, I don't want to say open items, but things that we spent some time talking about previous episode. Jock Peterson, who we made that trade for, total rental at 38 years old, and he's actually been incredible for us. 277 average, but 9 homers and 17 ribbies and 83 at-bats. So he's put up a silly 169 WRC plus for us out of that DH role. So he has definitely given us the offense we've been pursuing out of that left field / DH spot for many years, so that's positive to see. Yoshihiko Wakabayashi missed a big chunk of time earlier this year and hadn't been particularly effective. Mentioned last episode that we're trying to teach him how to play second base at the major league level, up to 45 out of 70 in terms of his proficiency there, so he's making slow but steady progress. Hopefully by the time we get the playoffs, he'll be pretty set at the position. Has done a lot more offensively since he got back from that injury. Not going to be a great season like his rookie year in the majors last year, but he's pulled the batting average up to 276. The on-base percentage is up to 380, and he's now put up a 110 WRC plus for us. So definitely has been a more productive offensive player in this second half of the season. You can see hit 268 in April, 221 in May, 221 in June, 250 when he finally came back in July, but a big 383 batting average for him in the month of August. So good to see Wakabayashi playing more like he did in 2029 here in the late part of 2030. And not that the division is really in question at this point, although obviously we still have some work to do, but we won't get another shot at the Rangers. We've got 2 left in this series against Houston. We'll go to Kansas City for 3 games. Then we're home for another division matchup against the A's, home against the Twins, and then a long 4-game series against the Mariners at home before we get to the middle of this month of September. But nothing left with the Rangers and nothing left with the Tigers. Hopefully the fact that they swept us in that series in Detroit last month won't come back to haunt us. And the guy who we picked up to potentially be an insurance policy for us, Dustin May, now banged up with a sore elbow that's going to impact him for a week. Fortunately, with Kraft and Broughton now on the roster, should not have any significant issues if we have to shut down one pitcher, given that we've now got 15 on the team. Meant to point this out as well. Dustin May is wrecked physically now. You'll remember that he was fragile, if you have a very good memory, when we picked him up. It's not this new sore elbow that actually made him fragile. Meant to mention this at the start of the episode, but it just shows how precarious his situation was. He suffered a finger blister right at the end of July that only had a 2-day impact for him. And that is actually the thing that pushed him over the threshold from being fragile in terms of his injury proneness to wrecked. And you can see now that he's wrecked, he's also had a mild hammy strain and a sore elbow over these last couple of months since he came on board. He has his ERA down to 2.60 with us, 20 strikeouts and 17 and a third innings. So he's been an effective arm out of the bullpen, but obviously going to shut him down for the next week. And although we benched May for a week and he's healthy now, our other acquisition injured, and this one's a little more serious. Jock Peterson going to be out with a hammy strain for 3 to 4 weeks. So it's very conceivable that he ends up missing a divisional series. .273 average, 11 homers, and 23 ribbies, 168 WRC plus. So he has definitely solved our issues for a DH against right-handed pitching. So disappointing that he's going to be done for the rest of the season and conceivably questionable when the playoffs begin. But we've got depth with Jorge on the team. He manned that spot originally for us, and hopefully he'll be more productive down the stretch than he's been most of this season. And with that injury to Peterson, we brought Oswaldo Patino back. He was up with us earlier this year, very effective, hit .353 and 68 at-bats, but given our strong infield, we just didn't have a spot for him. He's going to be a utility guy for us now, but on September 14th, the AAA season is over at this point. He hit .288 for us in 117 games at Salt Lake. So he'll serve as a utility infielder and a potential left-handed bat off the bench for us over these last couple weeks of the season. And the first half of the month of September hasn't been great for us. We've talked about the injury issues, but we've basically been about a 500 team for this month. Heading into the last couple weeks of the season, we've got a extension of our current road trip during which we split 4 games with Seattle. We're going to have 3 on the road in Milwaukee and then 3 at Colorado. And then we'll finish up the final games of the regular season at home, 3 hosting the Royals and then 3 hosting the Astros. As we sit here on September 15th, the magic number is still 2, 11 up on the Rangers and 17 up on the Astros. So we certainly will clinch the AL West in relatively short order. The battle for the best record in baseball remains very intense. We are just 1 game up on the Tigers for the best record in baseball as we head into these final couple weeks of the season. Vlad Guerrero Jr. has slipped to 3rd in the American League in ribbies. Schwellenbach still tied for the league lead in wins. Cade Smith still 3rd in saves. Jake Riley has actually pulled back to 3rd in the league in pitcher WAR at this point, and unfortunately, hopefully he will break out of this, but he was, I think he is in a slump for us. I don't think we can see that because he just pitched yesterday and he was exhausted, but his ERA has ballooned to 4.11, and hopefully we will be able to get him out of that slump before the postseason begins, because certainly counting on Riley to be an important part of our rotation for when we get to the playoffs. And we lost to the Brewers, so we still haven't clinched a playoff spot. Taj Bradley strained back. That's going to impact him for a week. Fortunately, we are going with that 6-man rotation, so should not be an issue to shut him down for the next week. And I can't say I love the way this team is playing down the stretch. This wasn't even a meh week. This was just a bad week. We lost 2 out of 3 in both road series at Milwaukee and at Colorado. So 6 games left, all at home, which is fortunate for us. But we are now a game behind the Tigers for the best record in baseball, even though we have clinched another division title. And obviously we'll be headed to the playoffs for a 4th straight year. But can't say I love the way that this team has been playing down the stretch through much of this episode. Other than that winning streak we had towards the end of August, it's been kind of a 500 or below run for us, which is not what we're looking for as we're trying to set this team up for hopefully a long playoff run. Fortunately, the last week of the season went better for us. Won 5 out of 6 at home and 4-game winning streak as we get ready for the playoffs. So that is the positive news at 104-58, 4th consecutive playoff appearance for us. I honestly can't remember whether that's a 4th consecutive division title or 3 in a row. I can't remember whether for our first playoff appearance we won the division or not, so let me just check on that. Okay, yeah, and it's a 4th consecutive division title for us. So good news there for us, 104-58. So fourth consecutive playoffs, fourth consecutive division title, third consecutive 100-win season. And obviously the primary goal is to win a second consecutive championship. Last couple of years, the 100-win seasons have been below Pythagorean expectations. This year we were supposed to be a 96-win team, and we got to 104. So probably not quite as good as we look on paper. Speaking of not quite as good as we look on paper, despite the strong finish, we ended up in a flat-footed tie with the Tigers at 104-58 for the best record in baseball. And that 3-game sweep that the Tigers had over us in Detroit back in August definitely hurt us, because we were 2-2 against the Tigers before we lost those 3 in a row. So ultimately, if we end up having to face Detroit in an American League Championship Series, they will have home field advantage on us. They are the number 1 seed in the American League. The Atlanta Braves and the Milwaukee Brewers have the byes in the National League. You'll remember we faced the Brewers in the World Series last year. So when all is said and done, still a really good season, but definitely missed out on the goal of having the best record in baseball. Tied for the best, but as I noted, we lose the tiebreaker. So if we do have to face off against the Tigers in a ALCS matchup, they will be the one team in baseball that would have home field advantage against us. Before we finish up the episode, a quick look at the team statistics. As I mentioned, after that excellent month of July, 21-5, 16-10 in August, and then we slipped to 15-12 in September. We remained very good in extra inning games, 12-7 on the season, also a winning record in one-run games. Pretty even against both lefties and righties, with 643 and 642 winning percentages respectively. Finished the season second in the American League in runs scored, ended up sixth in steals, although our base running was not good. Above average defensive team, but not exceptional. And we finished second in the American League in runs allowed. So second best offense, second best pitching staff in the league, added up to 104 wins for us. And we will see what happens in the playoffs. We do have a bye ahead of us, which obviously is good to see. Taking a look at the playoff tree, we'll be facing off against the division rival Astros or the American League East winning Toronto Blue Jays in the divisional series when we get there. Injury-wise right now, Jake Riley, hammy soreness for a day, so that's not going to be anything that lingers. Otherwise, we are pretty healthy with the exception of Jock Peterson. He's still got a week to recover from that hammy strain, so he is likely to be a game-time decision when we do get our divisional series started in several days. Have to decide whether it's worth putting him on a roster spot, knowing that he's unlikely to play in the first couple games of that series, but who knows, maybe we'll get a little lucky and he'll heal a little sooner than anticipated. But we will talk about those decisions for the playoff roster in our next episode, and that's when we'll also find out whether or not we can defend our World Series title. Until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.